To all the viewers out there, make sure you guys sub to Gilbert's YouTube channel right now. Do it right now. All right, peace.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Gibbs back with another video. Hope you're doing amazing as always. It's me, Everett, and Miguel back in the shed. To my right, we have Gerard here, better known as J-Rab. You want to let him know what you do?
What's up, guys? My name is J-Rab, J-Ribby, Gerard for short. I am originally from here in Santa Fe, actually. Grew up here, went to Santa Fe High and everything, and I make music, yeah. Me and, I don't know if you guys know, Sterling Luna, Trip, if you guys will. We live in California and stuff, so, and it's closed down because everyone's sick and dumb. So I'm back here now.
So Gerard, we were talking before, and I want to know, just starting off from the jump, what was one big thing that made you drawn to music? Like, what made you decide that
passion?
Yeah, like music is something you want to do, and you just loved making it, loved doing everything.
To be honest, so I've always kind of been into music. My dad actually used to play trumpet back in the day. He actually got a full ride scholarship to the Berklee School of Music for playing trumpet and shit like that.
Jeez.
So, and then I think he had one of my brothers, and that fucking went down the drain. But I kind of like grew up playing trumpet in the band and stuff like that. And it's funny because up until I think I was like 10, I didn't really like rap music or anything like that at all. Like super heavy and like rock, heavy metal, like
classic rock.
Growing up listening to like AC/DC, like Bon Jovi, like Robert White Zombie, Korn, all that shit. And as funny as it was, I remember my brother got the 8 Mile CD, and the very first rapper I ever heard, hilariously enough, was Eminem. And I was like, yo, this shit's kind of fucking dope. And it was kind of cool because like every time like I would listen to it, you know, I kind of like started delving more and more into like the origin of hip hop and shit like that. It kind of just gave me like a different like fucking perspective, like worldview of everything. There were a lot of times like there's like a lot of like family issues that I kind of dealt with at home, where I kind of felt just very like secluded, you know. So I was kind of like the black sheep of the family, and listening to kind of like hip hop and rap and shit like that. It like kind of like what I was telling you guys earlier, where it just made me feel like I wasn't alone.
It was kind of that escape, like that was like something you could feel.
Where like the times where I thought I was crazy, I would listen to someone like Nas or like Rakim, Big L, like Eminem, and I was kind of like, yo, like this is fucking dope. Like I'm not fucking nuts and shit. And then kind of delving more into it, it was kind of just cool because it, again, I was always like an intuitive person. So it just gave me more of like a fucking reason to kind of want to see every side of everything that goes on.
No, I completely understand, because like I'm so into all of that, like you getting off that I'm like when like listening to music, I like breaking it down like to the like furthest that I could, like meaning like whether it's like bars, the beat, the different like styles, like it's just so great.
And like I know a lot of people that don't like rap or even like different genres of music, and the crazy thing is a lot of people that don't like rock or don't like country or don't like rap, I feel like they still don't listen to like the words they're saying or even the things that they're able to do.
Like they're
so
like
close-minded
those rappers that are only saying like those few things over and over again, but then there are like those really good rappers that are lyrical, that are telling a story or telling a certain subject that is hitting a lot of strings with a lot of certain people. But a lot of people don't give it that time of day because they just kind of throw it into one bundle of it's just rap or it's just an art. You know?
I will say that's actually probably like one of the biggest things that drew me to it is like, bro, like the storytelling sometimes it's like so fucking good. Like it's almost like fucking like you can smell kind of like the grass being mowed, or you can like fucking literally like smell the alcohol, or you can taste like the food. It's like the storytelling, the emotion is so fucking good, you know?
Yeah.
Bro, like this is fucking insane.
My favorite feeling is when I'm listening to a song and I could really feel the emotion that they were feeling in the booth when they're singing. Like with certain songs like Dancing with the Devil, like you could tell like that's just a heavy, just fucking rap. Like you know, and if you've heard the song, you know like how dark it is. So it's like you like with certain type like Joyner Lucas, like with a lot of his younger music coming all the way up until now, like there's a lot of storytelling that I really like because you could really feel the emotion that they're trying to portray to their audience, and which is really cool because like a lot of people don't really get that, or like when they're listening to that rap, they don't think that there's that many levels down below, or even like with the words that they're using. So it's like really really neat for me, and that's why I love music. And like if you look at my phone, I have genres from country to hard heavy metal to classic rock to rap, old hip hop, mumble. Like, I have all kinds, but it makes sense, you know what I mean?
And the thing that really drew me to rap is when they're able to write that story. A lot of the times, like, you hear it the first time and it's like, whoa, like that was crazy.
Yeah.
And the next time you hear it, it's like you catch something else with it, and you catch something else. And I feel like when they rap fast with it, you're not catching everything at once, but it's so nice. Every time you hear it, it's like you're getting a new feeling from it. You're getting like, oh, did you realize he said this in it too? Like, that's what I like about it, is because it's always, I feel like I'm always learning more and like hearing more that I didn't hear before in the beginning. And that's like that's something that draws me towards music too. Like, that's really interesting.
And I'm actually kind of curious too. I always ask people this because I remember, like, growing up, almost kind of having like an old head mentality, you know, where I'm like, if it's not Nas, it's not fucking real hip hop and shit like that, you know. But kind of like growing up, I remember, you guys know who like Royce the 5'9" is, right? There was this one song he has where it's called Hip Hop, and one of like the lines where he's like, he says, hip hop is everything around you. And in that moment, for some reason, it just clicked. I'm like, bro, this makes absolutely fucking so much sense, because like hip hop, just like any type of music, has like kind of grown and kind of like creates like these little like subgenres of like what it is. Yeah. And the point of hip hop was fucking made for like the voice of the inner city to have a voice. You know, so it was like literally, it was whatever the fuck you wanted to say. It was like literally a music created to say whatever you want. So like now you have all these like subgenres where people kind of like dislike them saying what they want, but that's kind of like the premise of it, though.
It's the point.
Like, it's like a weird like.
It's the freedom to be able to kind of say what you want to get it across.
Like I personally don't really like mumble rap too much, but I get it.
Yeah, no, same.
Yeah. I get it. And
like, I admit, like, I have a few on there. Like, and like, I'm completely being honest. Like, I'll put on mumble rap if I'm not really trying to like listen to a song. Yeah. But like if I'm really trying to like vibe and like really like just get into the song, then like I'll put on like any kind of artist like that kind of resembles that lyrical kind of format or whatever. But yeah, no, I really enjoy listening to all kinds of music because they all kind of tell some sort of story. Even if it is mumble rap, there is some, you could always kind of pick up on some things that they're trying to get at. But
yeah, it's a vibe. You know, it's like a vibe at the end of the day, and that's like what you look for. I love Moral Technique, but I'm not going to play Uno to dance with the devil, though.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Go ahead.
Oh, so I was just going to ask, are there instruments that you know how to play? Like, are you...
Trumpet. Trumpet. I always, I kind of tried. I took like a couple piano classes and stuff like that. It was just like things like that. I kind of understand. I have like a little bit ADD towards it, where it's really hard for me to kind of like sit down, like fucking practice and shit like that. Trumpet was like one of those things that I kind of just fucking picked up right away and shit like that, you know. And it's kind of cool because like brass instruments and like a hip hop track to me is like one of the fucking like my favorite things ever. Yeah. You know, but other than that, no, not really. Unfortunately, like I always wanted to learn how to play the drums and stuff like that, but I've always kind of been good with like words and writing and stuff like that. So that's kind of just where my main focus was at that point, you know.
Yeah.
When did you start kind of fiddling and start kind of writing your own music, or?
Actually, probably freshman year of high school. I remember being in my health class. My teacher, Mr. Atterbury. Was it Atterbury? Yeah, something with the name Atterbury. And I just like remember just being so bored, bro. And it was kind of like cliche. I was like, yo, writing raps in class, bro. It's fucking it's the first step to becoming fucking a famous rapper. And I just remember just like sitting and just like writing, and I was looking at it. I was like, this is whack. I remember that same night, I fucking went home and I actually, I think I put on the very first beat I ever tried writing to was, it was a Nas beat, and it was Halftime from his Illmatic album. And I literally just fucking spent the entire night. I think I stayed up until like 3 o'clock in the morning just like writing like as much as I fucking could. Like the hardest part was figuring out how to like catch the beat and flow.
Yeah, knowing your timing and all that. Yeah.
Kind of like saying exactly what you wanted and like as little
to get that punch you're
as
looking
possible.
for on the
You know. Like saying it perfectly to be able to write it perfectly where it's not too wordy but it's enough to get the point across.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So yeah, literally freshman year of high school.
When did you like start, when you were starting to write music, when did you kind of start thinking like, hey, you know what, maybe I could kind of make something out of this?
So I remember there was a point where when I first started to record with Sterling, because I remember at that time I had heard that he actually got a studio, and then you had I think at that point it was like him and Alex Cloud who were starting to do it, and like they were like super kind of tight at that moment, and I was like, yo, I want to fucking try this. It was the worst recording session ever because I had tried fucking writing the Till I Collapse by Eminem, right? Not used to fucking recording, have absolutely no idea like what goes into it. I go to Sterling's house and it's me, him, and these two girls that he was with at the time, you know.
Oh, wow, that's
so I'm just a fucking nervous wreck. Like, I'm like, can't get anything down. Of course, they're like super supportive.
Yeah.
And I remember, I was like, bro, I was like, I gotta just work my ass off, bro. Because at that time, like, Sterling was still like top notch, you know, like Sterling was fucking killing it. And I remember I went home and there was like a good 3 or 4 weeks where again I would just stay up till like 3 or 4 in the morning just writing, like mainly trying to perfect the flow. And then once I figured it out and got it down, then I kind of started like pinning as much like lyricism as I could. Like I would start reading the dictionary and stuff like that, and just trying to
pick up new words to make like a double meaning, just
trying to like up my vernacular as much as I could. And then I went back to Sterling's house like a couple weeks later, and I remember I went and I showed him one of my raps, and he's like, yo, bro, he's like, no joke, you are fucking probably better than me right now. This
You're killing
insane. And for some reason, just like at that moment, I was like, bro, like I can like actually do this. Like the actual act of it isn't really too hard. Like
but
the idea,
confidence you need is high.
Like the idea of really doing anything isn't really that hard, you know. Like if it was impossible, it wouldn't exist. So like the idea wouldn't exist. So it's just like putting it like forth and kind of like doing the work and shit like that to it. And then yeah, bro, fucking me and Sterling just did music like as much as we could and stuff like that. And I just thought about it and I'm like, nothing else literally makes me this happy. Like nothing else, like hearing people's like reaction to a song, or like finding like a dope like cadence, or like writing like a dope bar, like none of that gives
just
me,
waiting
like,
for that anticipation when people do listen to it.
Like none of that gives me like, nothing gives me like a feeling like that, you know. So I think when I was like 15 or 16, I was like, yo, this is like literally what I want to do. Like absolutely nothing else. Like I don't want to go to college, I don't want to fucking do absolutely anything. This is what I want to do, so I'm gonna put all my focus into this. So like I have absolutely, like if I fail, like there's nothing for me to fall back on. You know, like I have to kind of like do this. But it was after that where I was like, damn, maybe I can do this. You know.
And how long have you and Sterling like been friends? Were you guys friends when he was making music and you thought that's something you could do, or did you know he was making music and you had to reach out to him, or like how was that process?
Me and Sterling have actually been best friends since kindergarten.
Okay.
Yeah. So like going on like 22 years now.
Jesus.
Wow.
22 years. And at that point, of course, he was at St. Mike's, I was at Santa Fe High.
Yeah.
And it was just like one of those things. So like the whole point, like the whole reason I kind of like started rapping and shit too was, and to this day I'm still pretty sure it's a hoax, but I remember I had written like this fucking poem in like my English class where my teacher like loved it so much and shit. And if you guys know like Bizarre from like D12.
Yeah.
I remember like, I think this was like when Twitter was first kind of starting to come up. And I remember him tweeting something. He's like, yo, if y'all have like original like music or beats and shit like that, whatever, like shoot into my email, we'll see what happens, blah blah blah. So I was like, bro, I can do this fucking
easy
poem.
Yeah.
I think I sent it to the wrong email. I fucking well, I was like, bro, like I gotta like do this, you know. I got like a reply back. Like looking back at it now, it definitely wasn't him. But I knew Sterling was making music, so I kind of told him that whole story. I was like, yo, so, like, you know, let me record and shit like that. Like, I know exactly what I want it to sound like, what to do, and then we can do this. And then, yeah, it was terrible.
So, like, going back into the process of all this, because, like I said, we had a little bit of a conversation before.
Yeah.
Where, when I went to St. Mike's, you guys were older than me, so I just remember being that kid that I was in 7th and 8th grade, and I hear about this dude Sterling Luna that's a senior making music, and I can't lie, I listened to his music all the time when I was in 7th and 8th grade, and just knowing that process from where you guys were then and where you guys are now, what was the biggest thing that helped you guys, like, especially that move to California? Like, what was going through your head where, like, this is what we need to do, and this is when we need to do it? Like, we need to go now, and we need to get stuff done.
What was, when did that thought process of that leap of faith kind of kick in where you're like, okay, I need to...
As far as kind of getting to where we were at before we moved to California, it was honestly hearing people not like the music. Hearing people kind of, like, say that, like, we were whack, like, we couldn't rap, like, the music wasn't good and shit like that, you know? It's like, hearing, like, that honest feedback.
Yeah.
Like, it hurt, you know, but it was, like, so fucking dope because it gives you, like, it's like, alright, well, you don't like this for this purpose, you don't like this for that purpose, or this, you know? So it gives you, like, the areas where you need to kind of, like, improve on and shit like that. And one of our biggest, actually, haters at the moment, who's actually a good friend now, is Tyler Miller.
Okay, yeah.
He was always super critical, bro. Just super, like, you guys are terrible and shit like that. But he was, like, one of, like, the main reasons where we're like, yo, like...
You guys wanted to prove him wrong.
Yeah, like, we're not gonna
like, I know how to rap.
Step back, you know?
Yeah.
And it kind of got to a point where he started listening more and more. And he was like, yo, you guys have gotten way fucking better. Like, not even gonna lie. Like, I didn't think you guys were still gonna keep doing it and shit like that. And then just hearing kind of, like, people's reaction to how much we had progressed. And kind of just people's reaction to being like, yo, like, this is dope. Like, you guys have stayed doing this for years while everybody else who was trying to do this kind of already stopped.
Yeah.
You know? So that there, we're like, yo, we know exactly how to take the criticism now. We know exactly what we have to do in instances where we have to better ourselves.
And not give up, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Sterling ended up moving to California, and I stayed back for a year. And then Sterling in California just fucking propelled. Like, he put out an album at that time called The First Day of Summer. And, like, from when I last saw him, like, that, you know, summer before, he fucking killed it. Like, his beat making, like, his fucking...
Just everything kind of just took another step.
Yeah, like, his writing ability and shit like that. Just completely just next level, bro. And at that moment, I was kind of slacking, so I was like, yo, I have to step my game up.
I gotta do what I gotta.
Yeah, I gotta like, Sterling's doing this. I was like, bro, I have to fucking get where he's at, you know? And I think a lot of it, actually kind of break down where you guys are asking, I think a lot of it is kind of just, like, competition with me and Sterling sometimes, of, like, not in, like, a jealous way, but like,
where we just see, that friendly competition.
Yeah, we kind of see, like, the levels that each of us can get to, and, like, the... you know, like, the climb above it, and we're like, yo, we always want to...
Keep improving.
Keep improving at the same time.
And I would say that's one of, like, the main things, to be honest.
So with that happening, like you were saying, with people's criticism and everybody putting down your guys' music and stuff, was that, like, a hard thing for you guys to understand, like, that people didn't like it? Or from the beginning, did you guys know, just fix it and keep moving forward?
Yeah, what kept you motivated?
Honestly, just wanting... So there was always kind of like a... Well, when you first go in, you always kind of have, like, an ego about it, like, a little bit, you know? Like, you never know exactly how hard it's going to be until you're in it.
Yeah.
But there was always kind of, like, a part of me that knew sometimes some of the music I put out wasn't up to par. But it was kind of just, like, having to do it to get out there to show people I was serious.
Yeah.
And... just hearing their reactions and shit like that, it was kind of like, you know what, I already knew I had to do that. This was kind of like the reaction where, you know, it's kind of like the worst of the reaction that I'm figuring. So exactly what I know I had to do, I had to do it, you know?
Yeah.
It was literally just wanting to like shut people up to the point where even if you don't like the music, you can't deny that it's bad.
Yeah.
Like you can say it's not in your taste.
Yeah.
Like it's not like.
But you can't say it's not bad.
Yeah, but you can't say by any means it's bad. Like you can't say by any means I suck at rapping. By any means Sterling sucks at making beats. Like
it just might be like it's not their type.
Yeah.
But you can't say.
Or stuff that you need to improve on, but it's not bad where it's you should be doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the main thing, is just getting to that point. No matter what you hear, if you don't like it, it's a personal thing, but there's no way that anyone can say it's bad.
And see, that's like we've only been doing YouTube for, I think we're going on 10 or 11 months now, and from so far from how far we've gone in that much time, I've heard a lot of like good things about the channel. Yeah. But there's always the bad things that come with it. And at first we were just doing it for fun, so when a lot of people would say stuff, like we would talk about it all the time, like this channel was a lot for us, like when we talked a lot about,
made it as in a way as like we wanted something to look back on.
Yeah, because we would look back at all the stuff we would do in high school.
Yeah.
And we would always tell each other like, oh, we have these pictures and do you remember that, and like all this stuff, and it was a lot of the things of let's make stuff for us that maybe people will enjoy, but like we'll look back on and be like, hey, do you remember like all these things? And then we started taking off a little bit, and then we started getting like a lot more focused with it.
Yeah.
And when some of that criticism comes in, like I think all of us knowing where we started, we all want that thing to help us keep moving forward. Like you were saying, like let the criticism come, tell me I'm bad, but you have to tell me what I'm bad at. Like you can't just tell me I'm bad. Let me know so I can improve. Because if you're just telling me I'm like you're bad at this and all this stuff, then I'm not gonna take you serious. Because you're just
comment down below we're garbage on.
Let me know what we need to improve on.
And like one thing I learned too is like at the end of the day, you can't be bad at something you love to do.
Right.
Like you can only be bad if you don't do it. You know, but like you're doing something that you think is fun, you fucking love doing. It's like something that literally brings you joy at the end of the day. Like one thing I had to realize, bro, is you can do absolutely everything right. Like I can have fucking Miguel clean my room, but if he doesn't make the bed the way I wanted to, I'm like, well, no, thanks for my room, but you know, I make my bed like this. So there's always like weird things where people are like, yo, like you're doing it right, but you're not doing it the way I personally want to. So that's like weird. Those are kind of like the weird differences of criticism that you have to be able to weed out. You know?
Yeah, and that's that hard thing that I've like talked to a lot of people, and they always tell me like, your videos are good, but you should do something like this. When like in my head, I'm like, I don't know if that's the kind of stuff I want to be doing on the channel. But then it makes me want to like have to think like, is it something that people will like to see, or is it like
something you want to see?
Yeah, you want to see. So that's another hard process, and like that we have to try to keep learning with and everything. And like I was telling him the other day after we had our conversation, like one of the big things we want to have you on here is because the accomplishments that you guys have already gone to. Like you guys are from the same town as us. You guys followed your dreams. You guys did what you love to do, and you guys are already living in California. You guys are
putting out music.
Yeah, you guys are doing what you love to do, and you guys just keep growing. Where like for us, it's like it's seeing you guys. We know it's possible because you don't see that a lot. So it's
especially in like our hometown. Like you could like how many people we could name off all in probably one hand of all of Santa Fe has gone out and moved out of state, and I actually
made it and doing something.
And it's a hard thing, bro. It really is. I mean, for the first couple of years of me being out there in California, there definitely was like, because New Mexico is a very, very like comfortable place. You know, it's super easy to become complacent. It's super easy to want to kind of just envision your life being as simplistic as this can be, because it's comfortable. You know, there's not really any worry outside of, I don't know, like that over here drinking and driving. But it's definitely kind of like an uncomfortable feeling. Like you have to be fucking very, very okay with kind of being uncomfortable, and just knowing that through that discomfort at the other end is where you need to be. You know, like it's like things that I've learned is like usually what I'm most scared of is what I have to take head on first, and what I'm most uncomfortable with is only because I'm trying to do something that I'm not used to, that I know is going to kind of better me at the end of the day. You know?
Yeah.
It's almost like when you lift weights and you're about to die out, but they tell you to like to keep going because that's the only way you build muscle.
Yeah.
That's kind of how you have to take the discomfort of doing what you do.
Okay, yeah.
You know, say one last step. Just keep going, keep pushing forward.
And you really kind of just you just have to be like super mentally strong about it too, bro. Like I said, like there are gonna be times where you're very just like out of it, kind of like there are times where it's harder than like the rest and shit, you know, but you just have to remember like you're there and you're here for a purpose. Like you are here now. Like any kind of like negative thoughts that you have about it, you have to learn to kind of just be able to dispel because you're here now.
You're living in this moment.
Yeah.
To live in the moment and keep moving forward.
Yeah. Exactly. That's like one of like the main things I had to like learn, bro, is literally focus now. You know, like don't think about what could happen later. Don't think about how dumb I was yesterday. Think about how dumb I am now.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's actually really good advice. You're kind of like saying like be better than you were yesterday. Just keep pushing through it and you're gonna be better.
And I think the thing that really helps is like a lot of people I talk to, they'll like when we were in high school, we would talk about it all the time, saying like, hey, let's start a YouTube channel. We do like a lot of fun stuff.
Oof, I know if we had started that.
Yeah, like that was.
We had a YouTube channel of like 5 years.
Yeah, that was our freshman year in high school. And we've been talking about it, and we barely started it my junior year of college. You know what I mean? And I think the hardest part of that was just the initial jump to start it. And now that I'm here and like that we're making it, I feel so much more focused and I feel like I'm ready for the change. But in my head, I know there's gonna be those hard times, and I just gotta.
It's always harder to start something. It's harder to grab the pen, start writing, or go to the mic and actually trying to start like perfecting your raps, or go to the camera and work on your editing skills. Like it's hard to pick it up and just be like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do now. Kind of have to kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. See, for me, that's like the dopest part though. Like that, like the initial fear, like the fear of starting something new is so fucking dope to me. I love it.
No, I know
just because the feeling you get even just from starting it, it's like it's I don't really know how to explain it, but it's like exciting.
Yeah.
Like you did it. Like you literally fucking pushed through that fear and you did it. Even though if it was just for like that first day, like
even if you did it once or twice, like you at least made the jump. Yeah.
It's like that saying. You only get to experience one thing the first time, and that first time goes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I love kind of just like the fear of things, bro. Just because at the other end, just like that feeling of accomplishment is just so. It's kind of it's liberating, bro. It kind of creates like this like fucking brain orgasm, bro.
Honestly, no, I feel that.
So what's your? If someone came up to you and said that, like, hey, I want to check out your music, what's that one song that you're like, this is my greatest, I could give it the gold star for right now, like, it would be this?
Honestly, it'd probably have to be Float.
Okay.
It'd have to be Float. Float is probably, like, the easiest, like, most, like, sonically pleasing. You know, like, the fucking beat just fucking smacks. It's, like, a super, like, nice sample. I mean, probably one of my best, like, written, like, songs and shit like that, too. Just, like, the melody in it where it's just as simple as, like, na 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 na. Like, that kind of gets stuck in people's heads, and, yeah, that's definitely kind of, like, my go-to song.
That you show people.
It's funny, because the sample Sterling actually made for that beat, it's, like, a guitar sample.
Yeah.
From, Logic.
Okay.
And then, so before we put that song out, we had that entire song already made, right? The beat and everything. Sterling had that beat for about 2 years. And then all of a sudden, fucking Post Malone comes out with the song with fucking, who is it? I can't remember, but it's literally the same exact fucking guitar sample.
Oh.
And that song came out like a week before I put Float out. And I was like, bro, is this literally the same exact guitar sample and shit like that?
Oh my god.
And it's like, damn.
So people think you like just use that.
But yeah, then Sterling had that beat for like 2 years. And came out to be honestly still to this day, like the very first song I like put out as like an LA resident, and that's probably like still to this day one of my favorite songs that I've ever done. I would say that's kind of like the song where I started to kind of like propel as an artist a little bit more, you know?
Yeah.
Like through that song, it kind of like got me to where I am now.
How are collaborations? Like, are you making features with other people? Are you having people come on? Are you getting on other people's? Or are you just trying to do your own thing for right now?
To be honest, back then I was kind of in like the mindset of like I want to show people that I can kind of like hold my weight on my own, and I want to kind of just make the music that like I want, and I don't really want anybody's like input and shit like that.
Yeah.
But as I think about it now, I'm like, it's kind of like dumb, you know, because it takes away from just having a different creative output.
Yeah.
It takes away from a potential fan base, and it also kind of takes away from just other collaborations in the future, even something as simple as like, you know, getting like a beat or something like that,
Yeah.
or you know, or just it's things like that. I haven't done as many features, or I haven't really had people featured as much as I would have liked.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like what me and Strong are especially gonna start doing more so like this upcoming year. It's just like trying to
Find more.
be more on like the feature like tip of things, you know,
Okay.
kind of like inviting people in and kind of just like understanding that we're all creatives, you know, and
learning what, like, kind of seeing their side of the
Yeah.
perspective from their creative view, and then also yours, and like creating
Yeah.
something that will sound good.
I think that's nice because, like, with a lot of things, like, people always have their own thing to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Whether it's very minimum or something huge, it's that little aspect that it could help a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't lie, there was like a bit of ego behind it too, where I'm like, well, there's like they're not better than me, so why? But
Yeah.
it's kind of like that's stupid though. Like I'm absolutely like, regardless of like how much better I might be doing than someone, like I'm still not shit. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm still like not at all where I wanted to be. You know,
Mhm.
like and none of us are. You know, and I had to kind of like dispel that like thought process out of my head and be like, yo, quit being a cocky asshole. Like, quit being a little bitch, you know. Like fucking understand that you are literally no better than absolutely everybody else. Like
Yeah.
we're all fucking here trying to do the same shit.
Mhm.
So once I kind of like took that out, you know, and kind of like came down to earth and humbled myself, I was like, now I just gotta start doing more. And I haven't had the opportunity lately just because of everything that I've been doing, but that's kind of like next, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you guys have a plan? Like, going with everything you guys do you guys plan, like, big, like, in advance? Like, oh, in 3 years, I hope we're here, and that's what we're going to be
Yeah, do
doing
you
and
guys set,
pushing
like,
through here?
monthly goals or like yearly goals for you guys to kind of hit and touch on?
Not as much as I would like to. Sterling's more kind of like the planner on that. I kind of just like go with like my kind of like goal is just every time I put something out, I get a little more interaction.
Mhm.
You know, slowly and slowly and slowly. Sterling's the one who kind of keeps us level as far as being like, yo, like within this, you know, these 3 months, I want to have, you know, like my goal is to have at least 2 or 3 music videos fucking made, at least like 2 more songs put out, like 2 or 3 more podcasts put out within like the next 6 months. I want these, you know, like this amount of listens on like this song. I want this amount of activity on this like social media platform.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like by year's end, I want this amount of like listeners in its like entirety and like our whole discography. He's more of like the long term, like this is what we need to do, and I'm kind of more like I'm just kind of go along with like the flow and just kind of let things
Take
grow.
its course, yeah.
Yeah.
Do something.
Kind of piggybacking off of that kind of question, what is the kind of thought process, and when you're about to release a song, like what is the thought process to promote it through social media? Like what is your process when you're coming close to releasing a song and you're going to promote it?
I honestly become a lot heavier on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll start literally just, even if I'm not promoting the song, I'll kind of start tweeting more. I'll start putting on more statuses. I'll start being more and like engaging and shit like that with people. And one thing that I've always kind of like wanted to do that I'm gonna start doing is I always kind of wanted to drop like a little like freestyle like a week before the song comes.
I think that would be
And
good.
I kind of wanted that to play into every time I drop like a song in the future. That's kind of like what you can expect. It like keeps me in like the eye of like the people as far as like music goes. It
Yeah.
brings a little something new.
They see that you tweet like a
Yeah.
little freestyle snippet of you, and then they know like coming soon you might have an EP.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
An album,
You know,
or
like
whatever.
off of that, they can expect something else from it. And so I literally just become very, very social media heavy, posting absolutely every day on everything, especially like through like Instagram and Twitter. I'll kind of like post like my previous songs and stuff like that to kind of like remind people, and every day they have something new, and then the last song comes out and shit like that, you know.
So are you posting like after you drop? Are you posting all over Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, letting people know like, hey, I just dropped a song? Or is it more of like they had that clip from before, so they know it's coming? It's more on them if they want to stay.
Oh no, even after, like, I'll still stay very like heavy for at least like the next week.
Okay, yeah.
You know, because I wanna, like, not every, like, the algorithm for social media is so weird. Like, you know, it doesn't always give you what's immediate. You know, sometimes like Instagram will give you like a picture that somebody posted 3 days ago, whereas I posted today and you don't see it right away. So
Yeah.
I try to do it in as least annoying of a way as I can. You know, so the same people kind of like see it, more and more people see it. I don't want to like completely you know, annoy people,
Just drown them and
but I also want to make sure that like if they see it, they
your
should hear it.
information is getting out.
Yeah, like if they see it,
Or
they
they're
should
seeing
listen
it
to
enough
it.
where they're gonna be like, okay, he's posted about it twice. Maybe I'll go.
Yeah,
take a
exactly.
listen.
You know,
Like,
and then for the people who haven't seen it, like I'll keep like posting and shit like that. Maybe there was someone who was on, you know, who watched my story on Instagram today that didn't watch it yesterday. So I'll always post kind of like a snippet and shit like that
Yeah.
of it in there. One thing that I have to get into the habit of doing too, that Sterling's really good at, is kind of just like shooting the song to like people through DMs and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
You know, it kind of creates like an unbiased like opinion of like the song and everything like that, and it's like a guaranteed play and stuff like that.
Are you
know?
guys sending them to random people? Or like if these people are following you on Instagram, I'm just gonna send it to a few different people, kind of thing.
Kind of like people like I know and stuff like that, you know.
Okay, yeah.
kind of
like-
word of mouth. a little
Yeah, like if I have like a group chat or something like that going, like I'll send it in like the group chat.
bit. And then from there, I'll kind of
Yeah.
hit its places, and then from there, I'll keep
Yeah.
traveling and stuff. Okay.
So I just try to kind of spam it as much as I can. So
Okay.
very, very social media heavy, regardless of what it is, regardless of whether I'm talking about the song or I'm just talking about something fucking just random and just bullshitting. Like it kind of keeps attention to me for the moment. Like,
Yeah.
this is what you're looking out for, you know?
Mm.
So kind of going touching on like performance aspects, like how do you prepare mentally and I guess kind of get yourself ready for that kind of going out there and knowing that you only have like one shot or whatever, and you have to make sure you have everything correct. Like what kind of goes into that preparation, into going into all of that?
Like for performing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I am horrible at that. I am absolutely horrible. I don't really. I kind of just take it in the moment, you know. There was a year where me and Sterling performed at Zobra,
Yeah.
you know, and I just really all I just did, I was like, you know what, I know the lyrics to like what I'm supposed to do, and I'm kind of just gonna go out there and just perform it, and then the
You do
energy
like
that I
try to
get
have
from there.
fun and get the energy
Yeah.
up and all that.
Like I'll definitely kind of like rehearse my
Mhm.
songs like a little bit more. Just think about exactly how I kind of like want the room to be. If I have control over something like the lights and stuff like that, then maybe I'll kind of delve more into that. But for the most part, I kind of just really
Walk in
don't.
and just
Yeah,
kinda keep your energy
Are you-
high and
exactly.
Are you thinking it's just another performance, or are you trying to make every performance that you make like your best one, where you're kind of going in there like I can't mess up?
I would want every performance to kind of feel like it's like my first or like my last performance, you know? Like
Yeah.
I want fucking people to go in there and like feel like the energy that like I have. I want fucking people to like be engaged. Like
but
I've
give
done
them
a
all
couple
that
of
energy.
shows where I'm kind of just like, even if I'm not directly the one performing, I'll kind of like hype man like the crowd and stuff like that up. I just want people to be as engaged and as kind of like happy of who they're seeing in the moment as they can.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll absolutely do my best. And for the most part, I'm like a pretty energetic person on stage.
Yeah. And that's nice too, because that's even that thing of, hey, I went over here and it was so much fun because of this reason. Like, because of this hype man, or because of this, like, and I think that's good too, because that continues to get people to talk about it.
It builds off it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It continues, it goes on to the next show, because then you'll have like another person from one show maybe, and they'll go on to the next one, and they'll be like, yo, I fucking love them. Their energy is high. They're great. I had like another question, kind of, it was kind of, oh shit, I lost my train of thought, but.
Oh, you think of that? Let me check the time. Make sure.
I will say though, they're one of my favorite things. So when I lived in Albuquerque for a few, my upstairs neighbors were kind of like super like fucking like hood, like hood guys. I mean, super fucking chill. Ended up being like good homies. Well, a lot of people like obviously like they look at me, they don't think I can rap or whatever. We actually ended up opening up for Mr. Capone in Albuquerque. And so it's like these kind of like hood looking guys, and I'm literally just hearing like fucking like fitted black like jeans and kind of like a fitted like black shirt or whatever. And I just remember kind of like people looking at me while like I was on stage and shit like that, you know, and not knowing like who this guy was or whatever. And I just remember like the few songs that like I performed with them, like the verses and shit that I spit, I just had to go as fucking ham as I could, and everybody freaked out. And I remember there was one girl who came up to me and she's like, oh my god, I just thought it was this little white boy and stuff like that. I was like, yes.
Thank you. Okay, yeah.
I was like, I didn't really know how to take it, but it's just, it's cool. It's like, it's super fucking dope. Like, I love performing for people who haven't seen me perform because they don't know what to expect. You know? And kind of like the shitty part is I haven't really done shows in like San Diego and shit like that, like how I would want, you know, which is also something that's gonna change within the next year as much as COVID will allow it to, and definitely do that like a lot more. But I definitely do have to put a lot more thought sometimes into performing, because for the most part I treat it like a math test where I just study the night before and
you're like, I know
just
what
go
I'm
in
doing.
and just do it, you know, because part of me just doesn't want to overthink. You know, I just don't want to overthink. I just want to, you know, do what I do. I'll have kind of like ideas of like transitions that I want to do in like each song and stuff like that, but it's about as far as it goes. Yeah. You know.
Did you ever think, like, kind of looking back, going back to freshman year, that one day you're just messing around in class, did you ever think in that moment, fast forward 5-6 years later,
you'd be living in San Diego.
Yeah, you'd be living in San Diego, meet the people you would have met, the experiences that you've had. Do you think, like, all in that moment right then, you would have been able to be like, oh, I'm going to live in San Diego?
No, to be honest. I remember, I think back in, like, 8th grade, though, I actually went to Disneyland with Sterling and his mom, and we were staying with one of her friends in San Diego, and I just, like, I completely forgot about this. Me and Sterling were like, yo, one of these days, bro, we're gonna fucking live here. It's like, you know, definitely, I want to live here. And then, yeah, bro, fast forward to a couple years later, like, it's funny, because the only reason why Sterling ended up living in San Diego was because SDSU was, like, the very last school he applied to. So he was like, yo, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. He gets in, lives there in San Diego. He needs somebody else to live with him and a few other people the next year. Didn't even think about it. Like,
just jumped on.
Literally, it was like a month and a half later, I ended up living there. And it wasn't until probably like a good 6 months in where I was like, yo, we said we were literally going to live here, bro. And now we're fucking living here.
Yeah,
this is nuts, you know? And I kind of attribute that to just like my fucking innate, like, just erratic behavior sometimes. Just doing things on the whim, you know? Especially like my girlfriend at the time. So pissed that, because it was kind of like, I think it was like 2 weeks before I was leaving, and we were driving back down from Albuquerque, and she's like, it looks like you have like something's on your mind, what's wrong? Then I had to tell her in 2 weeks I was moving to San Diego. And yeah.
We could all use our imagination to have that conversation.
So we talked a lot about like your accomplishments and like things that you were doing, but I gotta know, from all the performances you've done, has there been a time where you fucked up your own bar, your own song, where you're singing and you just completely just fucked up? You forgot the words, or you just did something
or blanked out.
Yeah.
No, but there was this one. Okay, so this guy, his name was Jacob DeRusha. Goes and he hits me up to do like, you know, he's like, yo, I'm throwing this like concert and shit like that, like, you know, I want you to perform, come through as Warehouse 21. I was like, yeah, of course. You know, so like a lot of the times before I perform, I kind of have a few drinks and shit like that, whatever. I had no idea that this dude was like a, you know, super Christian, like very Christian rapper and stuff. I had like a couple people who were on some songs with me go through, and there was like nobody there. I think I was like the first or second person on, and there's one of my very first song I had this intro at the time where it's like, every motherfucker thinks that they're the best in this shit, and if you don't think that you're the best, then you're probably some Christian ass rapping motherfuckers. Like, just super aggressive. And I made that intro to that song because I was just like being dumb and I was high at that moment. And so like when I'm up there performing, he's like fucking front and center stage, like looking at me, and part of me had to kind of like talk over it a little bit, but I don't think it worked.
You're like, let's get the party started.
And like everyone who was there was like, there's like a dad and his like daughter there, I think. That was probably one of my cringiest times, because it's like exactly that. Like I was talking shit about Christian rappers and he's a Christian rapper. That was the very first thing he hears from me. Like I had met him like once or twice before that, and that's the very first song he hears from me. So, never forgotten, really forgotten lyrics or anything, but definitely might have offended a few people.
Well, aside from that, how'd the show go?
The 5 people that were there seemed happy. To be honest, that was one of those shows, like it was hard for me to kind of like keep up the energy, because I mean,
it's like nobody there.
Yeah. You know, but I mean, I still did my best and like did what I had to do. Just got drunk for the rest of the night after that, and
Trying to forget.
I didn't talk to him after that for a few. Like,
do you guys still talk now and everything?
No.
What was that conversation like after, when you guys did talk?
I don't really exactly remember how it went, but I know I tried to deviate completely away from that song.
You're like, I'm just trying to push that as far back.
And I think it was kind of just like, yo, like, you know, thank you for like the opportunity, like, you know, thank you for like having me here or whatever, like this is dope, you know, like,
yeah,
have fun. But yeah, that was probably the worst time. Not worst, but interesting time, I guess I should say.
Damn. Alright, well that's going to do it for today's podcast. I hope you guys did enjoy. Thank you, Gerard, for coming on.
No problem.
If you guys want to find their music, you guys can find it on
Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube, fucking Soundcloud, anywhere that you can have music. Spotify, iTunes, you can just find me as J-Rab, J-Rab. You can find Sterling and Hippie Hollywood. We both have multiple songs. My most recent song is Moanin'. And yeah, listen to that shit and have fun.
I'll pop them up on screen and leave them down below in the description. Also link their Instagrams down below. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get all your Habits 365 merch. Use promo code Gilbert for 10% off all your purchases. And I hope you guys did enjoy, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
And we're drinking. Tidal,